Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our final series of the day. Will be between EHOME and iG.Vitality. It is, of course, MLPDota, joined by JohnxFire. John,
Hello,
first two
Mike.
series, man, they went so damn fast. I'm not used to it at all. Third series, John, do you think this will last any longer?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like that is what we're going to be seeing now. There's a lot of emphasis on the early game, a lot of emphasis on getting these really efficient items and snowballing out from that laning phase, taking those objectives fast, choking out the enemy very quick. I think that is going to be the trend we're going to see in the early days of this patch. And I wouldn't be surprised to see eHome and iG.V in this match just also go in that trend. Pretty much usually between 22 to 26 minutes. You know, a long game would be around 33 minutes, maybe at the most 40 minutes if it goes that long.
Yeah. May I remind you, though, John, eHome in the previous tournament we were casting was Asia Pro League, and they did come first in that, actually beating out TNC. So I feel like eHome are probably the clear favourites. Mind you, of course, it is a new patch, so you can't really call a favourite because as the meta changes, generally some teams go up and some teams go down. But eHome, they have had a few first place finishes as of late. I do believe there's been three different tournaments. The three latest tournaments they were in, including the Asia Pro League, they actually came first. So I think iG.Vitality, they might have a bit of work on their hands in this series.
Oh, definitely so. eHome has been doing quite well for themselves. I feel like this stack has been meshing together quite well, really getting a good feel for each other's game sense and what they want to do in the game. They've been working it out together. iG.V as well, they've been working towards it. Hopefully we see them put a good fight here up against eHome. Already something very different coming out from eHome. Shadow Shaman and the Centaur Warrunner coming out. Not, it's not exactly out of meta, these heroes, but I am keen on seeing how they utilize them here, Mike.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Of course, it does look like it's probably going to be that offlane Centaur played by Faith Beyond. I was kind of hoping we'd see his Enigma played again because that man, he makes your life a living hell in the safe lane if you're in the opposing team. And Faith Beyond, just a fantastic offlane player, but excuse me, we'll see what he can do on the Centaur if they are going to run it in that position 3. The iG.Vitality, their second pickup now, they will go after the Brewmaster, of course. We've talked about this in our previous series, John, but the Brewmaster getting some pretty decent buffs, arguably buffs, throughout this patch. So we'll see if iG can make it work.
Definitely so. I feel like Brewmaster is actually quite strong. It's just the prioritization right now, at least in the games we've seen the Brewmaster in. Teams seem to be maximizing the Q and E, skipping, the rework skill on the W the entire time. That that Cinder Brew has been skipped out in the early game. I'm curious to see if they can draft around maximizing that skill in the early game. I'm, it would be interesting to see just how potent that would be if you could keep it on someone for a very long time. I think it's definitely going to mess up their laning phase quite a fair bit, and it's going to be a pain to deal with. It's just that you have to draft in these fire element heroes, really maximize that.
Yeah. We'll see how iG.Vitality go about that. So far, no fire element coming out for the Brewmaster quite yet, but it's still very early on. One more ban out now for eHome, and we will get to see what happens further on. Of course, there was a Broodmother ban coming out for iG.Vitality, which is interesting because I don't believe we've seen that ban out too often in the previous series we watched. But I suppose it is still a pretty scary hero to be up against, and the Shadow Demon will come out. So now you've got that Disruption Hoofstomp set up, and John, we've seen this played by eHome before, and they execute that really darn well.
Yeah, they definitely do. It's something they're really comfy with. It also opens up a lot of options for your cores. Again, we've seen it time and time again. But Luna could come out here. I'm not sure how to feel about that coming out from eHome. Again, if there's a team that could pull it off, eHome's probably one of the teams that could do it quite well. I just feel like it would be nice to see again a bit more experimentation in your combinations with the Shadow Demon. We've seen the Luna quite a few times now, And I just thought it would be very interesting to see it paired up with something else. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something like the Jog, just to give you a little bit more potency in your push if you'd want. You could also go for other range heroes. A Drow would be interesting.
In all fairness, though, John, if I may,
Dire team pick.
and I was about to say, the thing is, with the Luna, we've seen it a couple times, like you mentioned, and it hasn't really worked out for any team that's run this Shadow Demon Luna throughout today, anyway. But in conjunction with the Centaur Warrunner, when you're giving him plus 40 strength in the mid game, that's probably a big
10
deal, right?
seconds remaining.
It's definitely a big deal. I was going to say if this is one situation where the
5
Luna
seconds remaining.
would definitely work out, especially with Center Warrunner's rework to his
Radiant
double
team
edge, where
double.
it deals a percent of your strength as damage now. So having Luna around when you're casting double edge should hurt a lot more. It's free damage for Centaur.
Not to mention, of course, the absolute tankiness of trying to take down a Centaur with that much more strength. But
Dire team back.
let's see how they finish these off. We do see EHOME. They will actually get rid of the Zeus themselves, which is... Well, it kind of makes you wonder, what are they going to put in that mid lane that they didn't want to be up against the Zeus? I suppose only time will tell. Of course, we should mention as well the Faceless Void coming out again, this time for iG.Vitality. And the thing is with the Void, it does seem like one of those other heroes where we haven't seen it been very successful today.
5
Yeah, I think
seconds
it comes
remaining.
down to how teams have been trying to itemize the Void. The last Void we saw was trying to go for the late game, going with the Battle Fury, facing off against a Magnus Juggernaut. I don't think you should try to outrice that. You have to accept the fact that Juggernaut will always outfarm you in that early to mid game. You have to reach the point where that farm difference doesn't matter. And then, you have a lot more utility as the Void with that Chronosphere. But again, the emphasis of this patch so far has been on really aggressive early game action. So that point where the Void overtakes you as a late game core is really far away from that point of time. So I think you have to really focus on trying to get your Void online early, try to really maximize that Chronosphere, and get as much as you can done when it's off cooldown.
Yeah, absolutely. No, final ban out now. They're still waiting for that one. Reserve time ticking down. iG.Vitality. Not sure what's going through their heads right now, but I guess that final Zeus ban may be kind of making them wonder, why would they go for the Zeus ban as the last ban out? So, less than 20 seconds left. Mind you, EHOME, they'll have about 2 minutes of reserve time for that last pick if they wish to use it. There's something tells me they probably won't. And they're going to tick it down all the way.
Dire team pick.
Alright, they get rid of the Lycan. Now that's interesting, because that's... I don't believe either of us would have been expecting that to come out.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have expected to hear for eHome. I don't think it would have really tied up their draft quite well. It could be. I mean, it can run away quite nicely away from iG.V's heroes, and could possibly cause issues to Pugna,
10 seconds remaining.
and really amplify the push. But I think overall, that Lycan
5
would have a
seconds
lot of
remaining.
issues against the Void. Doesn't really play into what eHome already has. It would eat farm away from Luna, who really wants to accelerate that farm early to mid game now. And it felt a bit too greedy. So I'm not sure what they were going for exactly with that Lycan ban. Maybe they really just wanted the Pugna to have a good time.
Is this the point if you're on EHOME? Do you just go for a Leshrac right now? Like, it does feel like there's somewhat, like, quite a bit of value in that Leshrac pick. In the sense that you do have the setup with the Shadow Shaman and the Shadow Demon for your stun. You do have the Leshrac up against the Pugna, even the Void, if you have the Fate's Edict and the Pulse Nova going. Like, I realize it's a different patch, and perhaps the Leshrac isn't going to be as powerful, but it kind of seems like it'd fit in that mid lane.
It could work out. I don't think that's going to be the pick here coming out for eHome. They have a lot of options to really consider. The DK is an option. We've seen that come out with Luna and the Shadow Demon, so it really amplifies the push. It's a really tanky hero along with that Centaur Warrunner. Combined again with that Luna aura, A lot of bonus strength coming in. Really hard to deal with. Of course, iG.V does have a decent amount of burst, and they can take away a lot of that tankiness with the Elder Titan. They go to
Oh.
Venomancer, Mike.
Your heroes.
Mm. I don't really see the like. It's an offlane Venom being played by Faith Beyond. It looks like, unless he's going mid. They're putting the Centaur mid.
Um,
That
you know
doesn't.
what? We'll find out, Mike. This is going to be interesting. I don't reckon it would be a Centaur mid, though.
No, surely not.
Surely not. So it's going to be Fate Beyond on mid? Possibly?
I guess we'll find out very soon. It's going to be interesting to say the least. There is also that weird chance you could see something crazy like a core Shadow Shaman, but I doubt that. I do believe ASD is their support player anyway. In fact, I'm just double checking right now because
No,
this draft
ASD is
confusing.
their position 2.
Oh, there you
So-
have it. So perhaps he is
It-
going to be playing a mid-core Shadow Shaman.
You know what? I don't really have an issue with that. I have to be honest with you. I think that's pretty okay. The issue I have is, well, no. I think we've seen support Centaur as well a couple of times. With a Shadow Demon, it's not too bad as well. I think a core Shaman is, it can work. There are a lot of situations where you want it to work. In this case, laning up against a Pugna could be a bit hard. Granted, although, honestly, I think the Shadow Shaman does deal a lot of damage early on compared to the Pugna. Ether Shock is pretty strong. People tend to forget that. It's a lot of nuke damage coming out, and you can clear the wave quite fast.
Prepare for battle.
Yeah, it is a core Shaman, Mike. 2 tangos passed onto him.
Hmm.
It's gonna be mid Shaman.
All right. So position 4 Centaur coming out. Fair enough. Faith Beyond will go into that off lane as the Veno. I mean, the thing is, even if you don't go for core Centaur, which I kind of agree with now that I think about it, like in conjunction with that Shadow Demon, and even the Shadow Shaman again, like you're always going to be able to land that hoof stomp. You probably still will be able to get a decent timing on that blink dagger. So I don't mind this at all, John.
Yeah, definitely. It does make sense once you kind of just let it sink in a bit. I'm looking forward to see how ASD plays this core Shaman, what he exactly prioritizes. Fast blink, fast agonyms. Usually those are what you want to see from a core Shaman. Really just emphasis on getting your wards as strong as possible and getting the push going really fast with that jump capability from the blink.
Yeah. By the way, apologies for me. I forgot the draft overlay for the second time this stream, so my apologies. It's gone now. Bot lane. Looks like they will throw an Astral Spirit out, but that'll pretty much be it. They'll disrupt the Elder Titan, but they will still lose the boundary rune at the bot lane. And it looks like the side of iG.Vitality, they will end up starting with 3 boundary runes, so a nice little start for them. Nothing too over the top. ASD, indeed, moving into that mid lane, he will be up against the Pugna being played by Butterfly Effect. This should be an interesting one. Like you don't get to see this matchup every day, so we'll see how much ASD can get done.
Yeah, I feel like honestly that should favor Shadow Shaman early on. He has really high base attack, fairly decent range, good amount of armor, and if he so chooses, he can basically, yeah, look at that. All that damage that Butterfly Effect was doing over the past 40 seconds, he did in about 5 seconds, Mike.
Well, we'll see how Butterfly Effect deals with it. ASD though, missing a couple last hits here. He'll probably just adjust. I suppose he's just not used to playing a core Shadow Shaman, that's all. Of course, bot lane, Ego and Y will be together with that Shadow Shaman, Shadow Demon and Luna combination. Though, being up against that Brewmaster as well as the Elder Titan, certainly not going to be an easy lane. And that Luna, very squishy indeed. I could say confidently that I could be slightly concerned about these guys. Like, just Luna copping so much damage from that Astral Spirit, and then once you've got the Stomp, as well as Beyond, once he gets a few levels up, he can just rush in towards that Luna and just really burst him down.
Yeah, it is a fairly painful lane, and as you mentioned, these 2 heroes for EHOME are not the tankiest, so they will have to watch out here, but they have a decent amount of XP going their way. They reach level 2 ahead, and they can pump the harass a bit more just before these guys hit level 2 of their own.
Mian now, level 2 as well. Beyond, he will go for that skill build again with the Q and the E, so he won't bother with the Cinder Brew quite yet. He'll just stick to the normal build. Dust was copying a lot of damage top lane, but he'll be able to time walk all that off. Still, Faith Beyond probably going to be able to farm and level quite quickly on this Veno, which of course is quite scary. Especially once you get the Poison Nova up, it's just so much damn damage that comes out of this Venomancer. And actually, it looks like Lien will deny himself to the tier 1 top tower.
Thanks and have
Only a 10-second respawn time, no problem with that. Faith Beyond, however, will get the gold for it. So Faith Beyond probably going to be happy with that anyway.
Yeah, I think that's pretty okay for EHOME. They get first blood. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think there's any complaints coming out.
no, definitely not. It's interesting to see that IG just gave it away like that. Yarn might be in trouble bot lane, but there's no real follow-up damage. That Shadow Poison will knock him down quite a bit, but that'll pretty much be it. Dust again, gonna cop a Gale, Hoof Stomp. He does bait out the Time Walk. Meanwhile, mid lane, it looks like they will try to go after ASD now. It is only Lien really trying to go for him. It's just a bit of harassment, and ASD just turns around, starts right-clicking him back, and again, that base damage that ASD has on that Shadow Shaman. I mean, he's almost at 100 per right-click already. It's pretty ridiculous. It's not an easy hero to trade with. In fact, as I say that,
definitely.
it looks like the Centaur is roaming around through the mid lane to try and help out. There is a Shackles coming out into the Pugna, but it looks like the Centaur is busy with the Ogre right now, so no one really wins this out. He'll make his way to that mid lane. Just wants a Nether Ward, though he's going to cop a lot of damage for this. Gets stunned up, the Ignite is there as well. He's just going to back off. A very strange engagement from either side.
Very strange indeed, Mike. At the very least, this does build our Centaur stacks of Retaliate up, which, you know, once it's maxed out, it should be interesting to see how much damage he can pump out with a double edge under that effect. Not sure if he's going to be leveling that anytime soon as a support. Probably not. But, you know, I'm looking forward to see how that interaction works.
Well, he has maxed it out. He's got 13 stacks now. Top lane, Dust does time walk, but the chase is there. Double Edge is available, and he can just use it. But in fact, he will right-click, and he will hold on to that Retaliate for the moment. In fact, excuse me, the Double Edge he holds on to.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And bot lane, Beyond, making a chase now. Ego, again, he is a squishy Luna, but they won't really be able to find him. The Stomp will connect on the Shadow Demon, though, and why? Can he get himself out of here? He does stick charge up, but the crit comes in from Beyond. It's a lot of damage with those crits, and of course, it's the Drunken Brawler that comes in.
Yeah, 80% critical chance, you're more than likely to be able to burst a really squishy support like Shadow Demon quite well.
Lien again, mid lane, just making sure that this Shadow Shaman just can't farm freely. Though it does look like the Centaur will remain in that mid lane to make sure he's safe. As well as that, Y is there as one. I guess we can see now the roaming combo of that Shadow Demon Centaur coming out. It is quite a potent one, especially once that Hoof Stomp connects. It's just free reign to just do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty potent. As long as they manage to get the catch going, they could possibly burst someone down with all the damage they have in the amplification coming out.
Mian will spot them out. Disruption is available. Mian just stands still for a moment. I'm not sure about that. He will get Hoof Stomped up. The Shadow Poison is there as well. They won't have the damage to take him out anyway, but there's the disruption. Do you have follow-up though? Double Edge again up. Now Lucent Beam as well, and they will actually take him down. Meanwhile, Faith Beyond apparently takes Dust down by himself on that Void. Just with the Venomous Gale and the Poison Sting, it will do the job.
Yeah, you do have to watch out with Venomancers when they manage to land that Gale. It is an intense amount of damage, Mike. It's no joke, really. There's a reason why he's called, you know, the Cancer Mancer.
Thank you for that, John.
No problem, Mike. Absolutely.
Centaur moving his way through the mid lane. ASD again, still sitting pretty, although Serpent Ward's now dropped. Butterfly Effect will decrepify himself eventually. I don't know if he can really survive this though. They have the shackles available just in case though. ASD will go after the Ogre. He wants the double. Lian should end up falling, and he does. A nice double kill coming out from ASD. Beyond making a chase. Can he actually kill him off? The crit's coming in. No disruption is there. The Stomp does connect on ASD. He's still trying to make a run for it. The Hex as well. Beyond forced to split for this. And I guess it's perfectly fine. It is still a core Shadow Shaman that you're taking out. Not a support Shadow Shaman in this case, but still, he definitely wanted to get away without having to throw the split out.
Yeah, definitely so. You will be able to get quite a fair bit of damage in that tier 1, so they get a little bit more out of that, but again, they lose 2 heroes, they lose their mid to the, to the Shadow Shaman. Not the greatest thing in the world. At the very least, his wards won't be up to chip away at towers yet.
Oh, yeah. Gonna run into the Centaur. Again, just getting those retaliate stacks up. We'll just walk away. Butterfly, really, I don't want to say he's had the worst time in the world, but he has fallen somewhat behind the Shadow Shaman. Now he's roaming down to that bot lane. He probably wants to get started on the pushing with the Nether Blast, but I don't feel like it's going to be as easy as they'd hope. Mind you, they've only got Faith Beyond there to defend, but that is Faith Beyond on the Venomancer. He actually hasn't gone for a point in Gale yet, though he does have one skill. In fact, no, he doesn't. He has gone for the Gale and the Poison Sting rather than the Nova. I forgot the name there. Beyond actually making the chase bot lane. They want Faith Beyond, but he's being blocked in by his own creeps. He has got Faith in the middle of the trees there, but is this a bit of a bait coming out? There is no primal split available. Now Lien moving forward as well. Faith is still not dead throughout all this. And now the Hoof Stomp as well. Double edge onto 2 heroes, and they will be able to get 2 for the price of 1. Faith Beyond finds himself a double kill. And honestly, John, that looked pretty calculated on my part.
Yeah, I'd have to say it definitely looked planned out. He got himself in the sticky spot to bait them in, had his 2 supports TP in, and managed to clean up at that tower. So I feel like that's definitely worthwhile. You slow down this Brewmaster quite a fair bit, and you force the rotations down. Your top lane is okay. I mean, Luna's not doing too bad. Right around the same level as Void with much less demise, but you're trying to buy space for these cores that are kind of suffering a bit.
Yeah. Kill on Beyond. A lot of golden XP though. Like, he's top of the net worth board. He can't afford to give away lives like that, and he will actually be able to get some revenge onto Y now. So Y will not even bother disrupting himself, just lets himself die. Throws out a Shadow Poison, just for good measure. So the Centaur able to snag a boundary rune from the under the noses of iG.Vitality. And now ASD actually finds Butterfly Effect again. Steals the haste rune from him. And then kills him off. Although no, Life Drain is there, but with the haste rune he can easily run out of range. Now, Dust, don't attack the Serpent Ward, sir! Shackle is there though. Luckily Lien was there with the stun. Dust is playing with fire there. He's getting a bit greedy, trying to go for those wards. If his Ogre Magi wasn't available in that area, I mean, that would have just been a secondary dead.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was pretty interesting ward usage. I did not think ASD would commit for the haste, but I guess it's worthwhile in the end. He got the kill. They can slowly chip away at this tower. Ideally, you'd really want to use that Mass Serpent boards for a push, but if you're finding kills in a Pugna on a core, I guess it's worthwhile in the end. You farm up yourself, you try to get good timing on that Aghanims, and then you really get the push go.
Oh, Mian, top lane. He's been caught out. He was just trying to hide in the tree line. Now Faith Beyond's got him stuck. He can't actually walk out, although nice TP. He will just hoof stomp, or not hoof stomp, but he will stomp and just get the hell out of there. Butterfly will end up getting Y at the bot lane as well. With that, they'll be able to get this tier 1 tower. Faith Beyond top lane though, getting played by this Elder Titan. Although they should be able to find a trade in the tier 1 top tower as well, and it looks like they will be able to very easily. So pretty much an even trade for either side.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Oh.
Luna. Yeah, the Chrono. In fact, it was the Centaur, excuse me. The Luna had already gotten out. Ego. That is a position 4 Centaur. You commit the Chrono for that. Why? We'll find the Brewmaster. The Hex is there from ASD as well. Though they will not Shackle. They will have to go for the Ogre instead. Because Brewmaster doesn't really have a stun available. And they will end up getting Lien. Now, can they find something on the side of iG.Vitality? They want ASD pretty darn bad, but the wards have been dropped. Now Meow Meow will be the target. He's gone. Now the Brewmaster, the only one left. He'll lose one Brewling. He should be able to get up perfectly fine here, although I say that, but Faith Beyond is there. And, well, they're going to give 3 heroes for the price of 1. Certainly not what you really want to do if you're on the side of iG.Vitality, and ASD going to be more than happy to throw his life away for that.
Definitely so. Again, the wards are expended in something that's not push, but they are doing decent work anyway without it for hours. So they're finding the kills they want. Ego is finding a few of these kills as well, getting a nice AoE gold. He has his Mask of Madness up, so he should be able to accelerate his farm quite nicely. And, you know, we'll start to see him be active on the map. He hasn't really been contested. He had a rough time in lane, but his jungle is fairly secure.
Just having a look at this Shadow Shaman, ASD. He's rushing an Aghanim Scepter, which is very interesting, John. I wasn't expecting this. You would have expected almost like a Blink Dagger coming out just for that mobility, but he feels like he doesn't really need it. And with that, I mean, that Aghanim Scepter, it's going to do a lot of work for him. Those Serpent Wards start to hit very hard, and if I remember correctly, they split shot as well, right, with the Ags?
Yes. That is the Agnum's up right now. Split shot on wards, and, you know, a bit more damage. Really good in pushing, really good in clearing out waves, and very good in team fights. So they will have to watch out. The timing looks to be pretty much on point for ASD. He's going to have the Aghanim Scepter in a fairly good time. They do smoke up.
Yeah. Butterfly is still going for the Aether Lens. He's quite close. He just needs to pick up the Arcane Orb. EHOME. See if they can catch out anybody on this map. Beyond would be a very nice target for them indeed. He is top of the net worth still, but... Well, that split, they have 5 seconds before it's off cooldown. Will they catch him out? The disruption is there. Hoof Stomp. He will be able to get it in range, it seems. And now with the Shackle, surely they should be able to hold him in place long enough. In fact, the Hex may just be enough, but they will Shackle just in case, and they'll take him out. Primal Split would have just come off cooldown, but all those disables being chained perfectly by the side of EHOME. But now mid lane, they found Faith Beyond with that Chrono, and they'll burst him down immediately. TP comes in from ASD. He gets stomped though, and he's surrounded right now. He needs some help coming in, but the Earth Splitter is there, and ASD is gone. And now the Centaur. Stampede was a bit late, I feel, and he does get stunned up as well, and he is gone. And suddenly, EHOME are the ones throwing their lives away for really no reason.
Yeah, I thought that was a really clean pick off on Brewmaster. They choose to try to go in to help ASD again. Doesn't pay off this time, and they lose their tier 1. So you have to be a bit worried if you're EHOME now. Again, it's not too big of a network advantage, but IG has been applying a lot of really good amount of pressure. They are finding farm in their void. You know, most of their heroes are not too far behind. Pretty tight race in the network right now. Again, less than 1k lead for iG.V. Could go either way, but as long as iG.V apply pressure like this, it's going to be hard for EHOME to find space in the map.
Yeah.
Once they clear out these outer towers, it's going to be very hard for Luna if they catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dust, he's just been farming this whole time. Like, every time he has Chrono available, he comes in, gets a pick off, goes back to farming. Mind you, he is below the Luna in terms of farm by about 1.1k, but with that Mask of Madness, he will, you know, slowly but surely start to catch up. Mid-tier 1 tower. We'll also get down at Faith Beyond. We'll find the final right click on it. With that, 13 to 12, 16 and a half minutes in. You look at the Centaur as well, John. He's getting very close to that Blink Dagger now, so you're going to have that initiation available without the disruption or the shackles.
Once that blink is up, of course, you will be starting these fights much easier for EHOME. Probably not going to be relying too much on the disruption anymore, which, you know, opens a lot of possibilities for the use of that disruption. You could use it a bit more defensively. You could use it to clone your Luna instead of trapping an enemy hero. And And I think that's going to be key here for EHOME to try to take these team fights back.
Well, they're going to smoke up iG.V. They want to continue applying the pressure, and as well as that, John, Beyond just picked up a Blink Dagger of his own, so that this is the surprise reveal if they can pull it off. And why? Well, he's a very, very easy target, so perhaps it's not what they wanted, but it is still better than nothing. Lien will take that one for himself. Faith has to be slightly careful in his position, but I suppose he'll be able to see them coming towards him with those Serpent Wards. Excuse me, not the Serpent Wards, the Plague Wards. Speaking of Serpent Wards though, John, bot lane, they've been dropped on the tier 1 tower, and they're going to go after the Pugner as well. Hex is there, though Stomp and Dust is in. The Chrono is available as well in case he needs to throw it up, but ASD goes a bit too far. Will end up losing his life again. And at this point, I'm not sure how well this core Shadow Shaman is going to work out for them.
I feel like it's a bunch of weird decisions being made from EHOME right now. Tianming on this Centaur Warrunner went really far forward to try to secure that kill in the Pugna. They did scan out behind them though. Like they found out iG.V was waiting around right behind them, and they opted to still try to go for that Pugna. It was a bit of an odd decision. They already had that scan, they managed to find a target, and they still chose to jump in. Definitely a very weird choice, and slows down that Agnum's timing again for ASD.
Well, they're going for the Hoof Stomp. Primal Split is sitting there and available. I'm not sure, like you'd have to disable this Brewmaster, you know, continuously to be able to make sure he dies, but he's got his full team to back him up. I don't really see him going down without throwing out the split. This tier 2 tower, unless the side of iG.Vitality plan to back off themselves, I just see it going down very, very soon. Not to mention, John, Dust still has the Chrono up and ready to go.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom
I really like the way, I really like the way iG.V's been playing this game. Really just grouping up as 5. Dust has been very active on the map. As long as his Chrono is off cooldown, he is, you know, with his team, looking to force the issue, looking to catch even just one hero. And it has been paying off for him. He is doing quite well for himself. He is still behind the Luna in terms of farm, but that is a Luna who can flash farm quite fast.
Yeah. Well, they are trying to go for a tier 2 tower of their own. In fact, whoever they found there, it will be Dust. Gets hexed up as he was TPing into the shrine and just ends up dying because of it. Tier 2 top tower as well, still falling. So EHOME, I mean, it looked like a terrible position for them to be in, but not only did they save their own tier 2 tower, they get one. That is a interesting decision to say the least by iG.Vitality to actually TP the Void up. Now they're going for more, it seems like, and they will be able to find the Elder Titan.
A dominating performance.
And I mean, you were just saying how much you were enjoying their gameplay and the way they were doing it, but now they're falling apart. Butterfly Effect also getting caught out. Bit of a scale was there, as well as the Poison Nova. They will find him. Now Lien going to be the target. Has been slowed down and will end up falling. That's just 4 heroes going down for absolutely no reason. And the tier 2 bot tower, John, it still stands.
Yeah, really odd from iG.V. I thought Dust was doing fairly well, and then just a really reckless TP up top when he saw 2 heroes there. Very likely that there were more, or at least one more hiding at the back. And he TP'd into the shrine. Just odd. No vision in that area. Jumps in, just gets caught out, hexed up, and killed off.
He pays for it with his life. Now Ego, I mean, he's really pulling ahead in farm. Like, Ego is 5k ahead of this Void now, in terms of net worth. He's got the Mantle, the Dragon Lance, and he's going to be going straight into that BKB next. He did pick out the Roshan as well, but nobody seems to have really tried for it quite yet. It's a bit scary when you've got a Void with a Chrono available. Like, even if he doesn't have many items to dish out some DPS, like, it's still a Void with a Chrono. So, it looks like they are being rather hesitant towards that Roshan pit. Until maybe they pick him off again. Perhaps that's when they'll have a go at it.
You have to keep in mind as well, not just the Void. They have a lot of ways to really trap you inside that Chrono, inside that Roche pit. The Elder Titan does a lot of work in tight spaces as well. And that Roche pit is a pretty tight cave, Mike. So, they, you know, EHOME does have to play quite carefully if they're going to go contest that objective. And I don't think they feel the need to just yet.
They're going to find the Centaur. He was right under a ward, although he'll just Stampede away. At the very least, you force out the Stampede, I guess, and you'll get a tier 1 top tower out of it. iG.Vitality probably going to be okay with this. Though their bot lane has also been pushed in. The Serpent Ward's still going. I mean, there's only 3 of them left, but they may actually be able to take this tower down thanks to those Shadow Demon illusions. Elder Titan actually forced the TP down now. And will they get it? No, they will not. It will be denied off, surely by Mian Mian. Or will it? Why is still going to try and go for this? He's going to try and snipe the tier 2 tower. Maybe not. He's just harassing Mian Mian. There's the deny. Mian Mian gets it.
The map keeps shrinking for iG.V. They've lost their entire bot lane. They've only got to tier 2 down mid. We've seen this situation before, Mike. The team that loses their outer towers, like this, first, tends to have a hard time playing catch-up. If EHOME just keeps applying the pressure on the map, it's not going to be easy for Dust to, stay relatively close in farm. He's pretty far behind, but again, against the Luna, that's kind of understandable, considering how fast Luna can farm. But, it's just going to get worse from here as Luna has access to your jungle.
I mean, not to mention, look at that Shadow Shaman. He does have the Ags up as well. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, like, ASD, he has been struggling as of late throughout this game, but still, it is still an Aghanim Scepter Serpent Wards, and he's almost at that level 17 mark now. He's, again, IG... I don't know what you do if you're on the side of IG right now. Like, they really are depending on this Void. But he is still so far behind. Only about 8.8k net worth on that Void in comparison to the 15.2 on the Luna. And God forbid that Chrono's down. Like, I don't know how you fight into the side of EHOME if you don't have the Chrono available.
It's a very hard fight to take for sure. You do have ways of forcing that team fight. You have Brewmaster Ultimate if it's up, and you have Earth Splitter if it's up, but you really rely a lot on that Chronosphere to set up for those big spells.
The Roshan now being taken. With those Serpent Wards, it happens a lot faster, and you don't really have to tank much damage. So, the side of IG, either they have no idea or they're not interested. They actually draw a line outside of the Roshan pit, and so it seems like they have no idea this is happening. You pick up a BKB on the Brewmaster, but with that Aegis gone now, this might be the time where EHOME says, let's get going and try to take a tier 3 tower. Though they do come down to defend that tier 2 bot tower, Dust will be aware that Faith Beyond is around. Now Stampede as well, they really want to rush in here. Who are they going for though? Mian Mian apparently is the target though. Ego with the Eclipse now. He will burst down Lien. And Hoops, the stomp is there. Dust, Chrono is only onto 1 and it is the Shadow Shaman. The disruption was there. Dust cannot do anything his own Chrono and he gets hexed up as well. That is not the play from iG.Vitality. They have found another in the Elder Titan. I was wondering where the hell this Centaur blinked to, but John, 3 down for the side of iG.Vitality. That mid lane, I mean, a line's been drawn straight through it. You can tell exactly what EHOME wants to do right now.
Definitely so. They're just going to clear out that tier 2, of course. Start knocking on tier 3s. I wouldn't be surprised if they did significant chip damage to that mid-tier tree. And I feel like if you're EHOME, you're in a very happy spot once you clear that tier 2 out. The Void will not have any room to really farm up anymore. So will the Brewmaster. It's going to be very hard for them to take control of that jungle area. And it just gets harder and harder for IG to catch up.
Well, they might find the Centaur. It was being rather, although Decrepify, it will not actually help. Of course, it was from the enemy Pugna, but the Hex is there onto the Brewmaster. Wards will also drop. They will not take down Beyond. Lien may be the target, though. That Nether Ward doing so much damage to the side of EHOME. Now a BKB in the backlines. Dust will get ASD. Now they'll find Y as well. This is not the fight they wanted though. EHOME, look at Ego's damage. He just bursts them down with the glaives and now the Aegis is gone. But Faith wants to keep moving forward. As Luna will be there to back him up any moment now. The Faith copying a lot of damage from Beyond and Lien, but is it enough? Beyond still making the chase, but he's copying way too much himself. The split will make it in time. He really wants this venomous, well, this snake essentially. Faith Beyond still copying a lot of damage, but The problem is, John,
They say double kill.
you basically traded your whole team for that. It looked like iG.Vitality were basically going to take a good team fight and back off, but, well, they did that, and then they let Ego just right-click them to death.
I mean, that pretty much was a full team wipe for EHOME, except, you know, Luna had an Aegis, but at the same time, iG.V also lost everyone but the Pugna, so I guess it was even, 4-4. I feel like EHOME definitely went out. All of those kills on Luna just accelerate her farm that much more. Going to be working towards that butterfly next. It's really scary to play against Luna now.
Yeah.
She is really farmed up. A lot of damage coming in. When the Centaur is next to her, there's just so much tankiness in that Centaur. So much damage coming out with the spammability of Double Edge and how it works now. Scaling off your strength. So you really do have to be careful about this. And again, they are losing map control inside of iG.V. They have wards outside. That is pretty much better than the last few runs we've seen where towers have been taken away. But that mid tier 2 is not going to stand for too long, and EHOME has already been playing around in your jungle.
YG. Dust. Chrono available. They will just go after the Shadow Demon. A nice easy pickoff, but again, ASD is there with the Hex. Now the ward's dropped again, and they found the Shackle just in time. They will end up finding the Void, and a Hoof Stomp in the backlines onto Lian. They will find the Ogre as well. Can they get Mian? Mian. They are making the chase. ASD looking for the Hex. The Lucent Beam, that mini stun is just enough. Ego now on a godlike spree. 9-1 with 6 assists. This is at least a mid-tier 2 tower. In all honesty though, I really wouldn't be surprised if they just go for more. Like, why the hell not?
There's really no reason to stop. The only thing that would stop him is the threat of Chronosphere, which will be up. I mean, it hasn't been used recently. The moment the Void is back up, the Chronosphere will be there, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Like, just look at how fast these towers fall.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, well, they are going to back off now. Like, the Void going to respawn in a second. They're just like, all right, no need to rush this. We've still got a Luna for the late game. Of course, Y wasn't there with the Shadow Demon, so they couldn't really get that illusion spam coming out from the Shadow Demon with the Luna. But nevertheless, next time, Serpent Wards will probably also be available for the next time they want to push, which will really help speed that up a bit. So Dust, back to the farming game, just really needs to catch up a bit for his team. He's, you look at the net worth graph, John, he's pretty far down.
Yeah, he's definitely far behind, about 1k behind to Shadow Shaman at the very least, and he is on the bottom 3 in his team.
Faith Beyond, maybe baiting it. Oh!
God!
Are you kidding me? The Centaur, Stampede is there as well. Dust is, I mean, he goes back home, but John, you've got to be slightly embarrassed. The Elder Titan now, Mian making a run. What kind of play was that from Faith Beyond? Mian being chased down. John, I've got to admit, I just want to talk about what just happened, but mid lane, they found the Pugna. Now they'll find more Poison Nova. Lian probably will just tick down to this. Mian copying a lot of damage as well. They will come in with Beyond, but it's not going to help too much. He doesn't Primal Split throughout all this, though they do buy back. They want to find some return kills here. Those Serpent Wards are still hitting your tier 3. Meanwhile, the Centaur, Hoof Stomping in the background. Can they actually find anybody? The Chrono won't be available for 80 seconds. Now the Earth Splitter comes out. It hits absolutely nobody. The Centaur is still alive throughout all this, and now Dust, he barely time walks it off. Now Hex though coming out onto the Elder Titan. The double edge coming out from the Centaur. He should end up dropping, but there's diebacks coming out on the Ogre. Meanwhile, Faith Beyond is going to find Mian thanks to the Shadow Demon to help out. That mid-rax is gone. They call it. John, back to that play. What the hell was that?
I don't know, Mike. That was a Hurricane Pike, and I have no clue. I have no clue. That was a Hurricane Pike. For some reason, the Chronosphere still went off. Mid Pike. And that was it. That was it.
Was that on purpose? Or are we just overreacting? Was that on...
Yeah.
It almost felt
100% that Hurricane Pipe was on.
no, I realize that, but do you think he was expecting the Chrono to come out? Like, it looked like he was baiting the Void to Chrono the whole time, because his teammates were on the lower ground, waiting for him to do it.
For sure. I think you have to give credit. I think Fate Beyond was, you know, there's no other way that you would possibly expect that to turn out. You know, why would you Hurricane Pike in that case? It's to try to avoid a chrono. And he seemed to know about that interaction. It paid off in a very big way.
Whew, my goodness. All right, well, last game of the day coming up very soon, guys. I don't know what to say about that. That is fantastic. It's to be expected from Faith Beyond, I suppose, but that is absolutely fantastic. Last game of the day coming up. Hopefully it won't be too long. It is at MLPDota and at johnxfire joining you here. We'll be right back in just a moment, guys.